US President Donald Trump has said Iran wants the Strait of Hormuz to remain open, claiming the country seeks to maintain oil revenues while publicly taking a different position. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said Iran could earn up to $500 million a day if the strait remains open, adding that statements about closing it are aimed at saving face amid a US naval blockade. At the same time, the United States military says it is maintaining readiness during the ongoing ceasefire. US Central Command, known as CENTCOM, said its forces are rearming and retooling while adjusting tactics. Speaking alongside US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper said the military remains prepared and is adapting its operations during the pause in fighting. Diplomatic uncertainty continues to surround planned talks between Washington and Tehran. A White House official confirmed that US Vice President J.D. Vance would not be traveling to Pakistan as scheduled, adding that updates on in-person meetings would be announced later. The visit had been expected as part of efforts to advance a second round of negotiations. Meanwhile, Iran has raised strong objections to recent US actions. An advisor to Iran's parliament speaker and chief negotiator Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf described the US decision to extend the ceasefire as a ploy to buy time for a potential surprise strike. The advisor also said the continued US blockade of Iranian ports was equivalent to bombardment and should be met with a military response. Iran has also called on the United Nations to condemn the US seizure of an Iranian cargo vessel. Iran's ambassador to the UN, Amir Said Iravani, described the move as piracy and a violation of the ceasefire, warning it posed a threat to the safety of key shipping lanes. The US had earlier said its navy seized the Iran-flagged ship, citing sanctions enforcement. Economic pressures are also evident, with oil markets reacting to ongoing uncertainty. US crude futures rose despite the ceasefire extension, as doubts persist over the outcome of peace talks and the status of the Strait of Hormuz. West Texas Intermediate crude climbed to over $90 a barrel in early trade, continuing gains from the previous session. Amid these developments, Trump formally announced an extension of the ceasefire between the United States and Iran. He said the truce would continue until Tehran submits a unified proposals and negotiations are concluded. The decision, he said, followed requests from Pakistan's leadership, including Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Chief of Defense Forces Field Marshal Asim Munir. Despite the extension, the US will maintain its naval blockade of Iranian ports and keep its military prepared for further action. The ceasefire, originally agreed on April 8, had been nearing its deadline before being extended. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif welcomed the decision, thanking Trump and expressing hope that both sides would continue to observe the ceasefire. He said Pakistan would continue its efforts to facilitate dialogue and hoped a comprehensive peace deal could be reached during a second round of talks expected in Islamabad. However, Iran has not yet issued an official response to the ceasefire extension and has not confirmed whether it will participate in the expected negotiations. Iranian officials have questioned Washington's commitment to diplomacy, citing actions including the seizure of vessels and the continued blockade. Pakistan has said it remains in contact with Tehran and is awaiting a formal response regarding participation in the talks. Officials have emphasized the importance of dialogue and urged both sides to extend the ceasefire to allow diplomacy to continue. The situation follows an earlier round of direct US-Iran talks held in Islamabad on April the 11th and 12th, which ended without an agreement but also without a breakdown. Pakistan has positioned itself as a facilitator in the process and has been recognized by both sides as a mediator. Tensions escalated after US and Israeli strikes on Iran on February 28, which triggered a broader conflict and contributed to a global fuel crisis. Since then, disagreements have persisted over key issues, including navigation through the Strait of Hormuz and US demands related to Iran's nuclear program. While both sides have engaged in talks, the situation remains at an impasse, with ongoing tensions, military readiness, and uncertainty over whether negotiations will move forward.